Chapter 4, Part 3, Trouble on Peckerwood. Today he was spilin', pinin', and pantin' for a fight. He made up off the slope through the piney woods to the knobs and balds and the wide sky of Peckerwood and down the Hardy side. He felt good. He felt great. He'd grab those lunkish frames, he'd bend and sway and cave them and crunch them and hurl them one by one or three to the bunch, and paw Hardy too if the old man didn't light out like a scared shoat. It was time these fish-mouth Hardys got their final comeuppance, and the old bile shaken squoze and belted out of them. He'd show them a Trevitt still was master. Hub felt the leap and churn of power. He laughed. He shouted. He slanched down through the sand and myrtle and buttonbush, mashing bluebell and violet, trump and trillium, hollerin' for pure joy, rollin' a song, bellerin' his purpose. Everything was quick with life. Everything was out of its hole, out of its log, pod, shell, stump, and burrow, seeking battle, seeking frolic, sniffing the spring. There it was, across the clearing, the Hardy homestead. "I'm a-comin'!" Hub filled the cove with whoops, filled the meadow and woods with taunts and dares, for that was the surest way of discouraging a bullet, of bringing the brothers out with their own brawn and fury. "I'll heave Old Hardy into the wellspring and hake into the manure pile. I'll hang Jim on a fence. I'll make you think Bash Trevitt himself has passed by again." He crossed the clearing, flung a heavy cobble at the door. Nobody appeared. Weren't they to home? He clomped about. That's when he saw the float of a skirt. It whipped behind the barn. Hub took after, like the squirrels that launched themselves around tree trunks. Around the barn he went full tilt, tripping twice, sprawling once. These Hardys left tools scattered wild and careless. Since he couldn't find a fight, he'd settle for a foot race. The fluttering cloth made across the cow pasture skimmed a fence. He followed with his man-sized strides. In the woods it vanished. He tracked it by twigs that swayed, by leaves that shook. He knew he was gaining. He'd wanted old Jim and Hake. Since they razooed, and Pa too, he'd deal with nimble Kedron. He'd rattle her till she yelled. He'd make her straight tell what she'd been up to, snooping in his cabin, moving his stool, and leaving her gear like that. There she was, darting between the sycamores, fleeing across a glade, skipping over the hummocks of a pond, sending the frogs scooting flat out. But he could cross hummocks too. He had her now. He reached for that flying cloth. The crash took the breath plumb out of him. He floundered and tore at the sharp-fanged thing, but it was around his hips with a hug of fire. It was a hickory hoop with curved nails in it. He was in a barrel, a stone-weighted muskrat barrel. He and barrel went over, shoulders and head, under muddy water. He struggled but couldn't get footing. His feet were caged in the barrel, his knees and thighs locked in it. Shoved as he would, his arms went down into ooze. Something righted him, brought his head up into the sunlight, and it was about time. He'd swallowed a lake. He heard shrieks of laughter. He couldn't get out, for the least lunge would send the barrel over again. He gawked through the mud and slime that glued his face. There she perched on her hummock, doubled over in glee, elbows to knees, hair swinging. She mocked. She hooted. Nothing pallid about those young cheeks now. They shone. "Chop me out. Get an axe," pleaded Hub. She laughed, choked, and gasped, laughed some more until she simply ran out of breath, until she grew weak from screaming that a Hardy caught a Trevitt hard and fast in a barrel trap. But she kept him there, and told him things that a Trevitt had never thought of to hear from a Hardy, things that she seemed to think were good for him, of how uppity the Trevitts have always been, because their side of the mountain had better soil and weather, and better game trails too, and they'd been mighty selfish with them, which had helped to keep the Hardys poor and badly shod and armed, and badly mannered too, she granted it. But what would you expect of folks on land so mean it sprouted only a handful of tan bark, which her men were away with now, hauling to town on a slide? Her last winter's upsy-daisy into that Trevitt pit trap had been simply one more Trevitt win and Hardy bottom whack, but now the score was evener. A Hardy had speared a Trevitt, and here he was, like a bullfrog flapping in a blue crane's beak, and if he'd admit it, she'd help him. Otherwise he could fight the barrel. She had work elsewhere. Nails been into Hub. He couldn't kick loose or climb out, and he'd peeled the skins from too many creatures to want to shuck his own. He was beat. He hollered that he'd come to do battle with her kinfolk, but had found only her, Kedron, and she'd whooped him. Say it again. He said it again. I'll go fetch the axe, said Kedron. She soon returned with the axe. Balancing on a tussock, she split him out precisely. Staves and hoops fell away from the well-raked hips. The hollers had gone out of him, and the urge to hanker for combat, he said. Well, I guess I'll be going back up the mountain. The hollers had gone out of her, too. Reckon you will. Something held him to the spot, and it wasn't the ooze of the tussock. It was the newness of the situation, and one special oddity of it. He said, wondering greatly, First time a Trevitt was ever really whooped by a Hardy. Funny thing is, I don't mind it. I bet you sting, said Kedron. From the nails. I'm sorry. He peered at her. She meant it. She wasn't laughing. And she was pretty, though muddy and draggled as usual, with a brand new light dancing about her. You'd have to go to a pansy patch or a sunset or a flight of Canadian honkers to find anything half so pretty. And even then there'd be something missing, something that she had. A great big idea came to him. Maybe it had been there all along, so big he hadn't seen it. He wanted to tell her about it. His tongue stuck like a pair of feet in a barrel. He yanked at the wedged tongue and blurted, I've been making a rocking chair. She went still. Guess you saw that chair. Hushed and frozen like, she waited. Well, I busted it. Her mouth, her eyes, stood open, but she didn't speak. Couldn't she see he wanted to tell her he'd make another rocking chair, prettier by far, but that his stool and her basket must always stay beside it? Wasn't she going to help at all? He grabbed her. Kedron. Her neck smelled good. Her hair, mud and all, smelled clean and fresh as goldenrod. They clung to each other as the hummock broke under them. They laughed, for this plunge made fine clinging. Kedron, when can I talk to your pa and fight your brothers? She pulled away. I hear them now. I wish I was still hotted up for them, 'stead of all gentled down and soft like. I'm not at my best. Soothed Kedron. They'll beat you silly, but it won't take long. She decided happily, I'll start making a batch of Aurelia's mender at once. Might as well work my hand in.